kind of cool, right? Like a little tasty in a milky drink. The other day, I woke up at 3:30 in the afternoon. Sue me. I'm waiting for it. Go on. I was like, I can't have a coffee. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. And I said, no, I'm not going to have a coffee. So I didn't have one. Oh boy. That was like, I don't want to say the worst day of my life. That's dramatic, isn't it? It was horrible. It was so bad. Parkinson's disease. Nobody knows how. Type 2 diabetes. Nobody knows how. When I say moderation, we'll get onto moderation in a minute, because I have been in non-moderation land. And I'm sure you have too. Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. Today we're talking about caffeine, the unanimous drug of the world, apart from alcohol, of course. But like, everybody has caffeine every day. And I'm not just talking about coffee, I'm talking about caffeine in general. Can't quite decide where to put this microphone today. It's got some controversy. Should we be drinking it? Should we not? And I'm going to go today into the depths of coffee for our physical health, coffee for our mental health, the positives, the negatives, and then answering some caffeine-related questions. I just realised I said caffeine, not coffee. My form of caffeine consumption, not introduction, is coffee mainly. I also used to take those little pills, Pro Plus. I don't know why. I was really trying to dig out of my mind what would even push me to be taking those. I think it's because I didn't like the taste of coffee at the time and I needed some energy. I don't know. I can't tell you. I wish I could. I have also had green tea, chocolate, that's my fucking downfall right there. And, well, we'll get into more of the coffee. I keep saying coffee. I'm sorry. If I keep saying coffee instead of caffeine, I'm very sorry about that. So we will get more into the caffeine-containing items in the rest of the episode. But first, caffeine. So where does caffeine come from, right? Let's start with that one. Caffeine, obviously. I always say things are obvious and then think, well, they might not be that obvious to some people. So caffeine comes from a few places, actually. 3 places in particular. I mean, you can manufacture it, but we're talking about natural ones. Coffee, the coffee bean. 2, tea. 3, I don't know what's wrong with my brain today. Cocoa beans. They're all kind of like tropically fruity plant things, and we have a lot of foods from those 3 sources, don't we? I would say most doctors drink coffee. Oh, I'm a doctor. Most doctors drink coffee. There are some tea drinkers, but mostly it's coffee. We have a coffee machine around every corner. Like it's just the said and done thing. Do you want to go get a coffee? Yeah, I do. But I have changed my own coffee drinking habits over the past few years for multiple reasons, which we will discuss in a bit. But mainly, I don't drink as much coffee or consume as much caffeine as most people do, I would say, for various reasons, as will be discussed. Oh, there are obviously like other sources of caffeine nowadays. We can get it from like Red Bull, for example, other drinks, like soft drinks, things like Monster. I don't know where that caffeine comes from. I don't know if it's like extracted from coffee or whether it's like manufactured, because you can make any drug or like a similar I can't talk tonight. Honestly, there's something wrong with me. I have had my coffee for today, but a long time ago. Like, a long, long time ago. We're talking nearly 12 hours ago now. So, okay, the science behind coffee. I did a little look into how caffeine works. Oh my god, I just said science behind coffee again. The science behind caffeine. I did a little research into how caffeine works. I think it is known, right? Because a lot of things in medicine, unfortunately, aren't actually known. Like, people think, oh, they're known, people know about them. We know all the answers. No, we fucking don't. We don't even know how paracetamol works. Bet you didn't know that, did you? So I did a little bit of research. I am going to have to read off of here, I'm afraid. So, number one, there are a few ways. Number one, it says there are a few different theories, which makes me think we don't necessarily know. But number one, caffeine competitively binds to the adenosine receptor in the brain. So adenosine, when it's like a neurotransmitter, when it binds to its receptor in the brain, it causes fatigue, and then caffeine basically fits into that receptor too, kicks away the adenosine and goes, no more fatigue for you, and that is how we are not tired. Ironically, because I did my tired all the time episode last week. Delays fatigue. That's interesting. Fatigue is always coming, but it's delayed. It's not yet here, but it's coming for you. It's coming for all of us. Number two, caffeine stimulates lipolysis, which is breakdown of fats, directly and via an increase in adrenaline via the adrenal gland. So it gives us adrenaline, I think is the summary of that. 3, caffeine stimulates calcium release, which is why our muscles are like, yeah, when we have caffeine, we're like, I'm ready, so powerful and caffeinated. So increase force in our muscles. Those are the 3 methods of caffeine in our body. Okay, let's talk about the positives, because personally I think there are a lot. The other day, I woke up at 3:30 in the afternoon. Fucking sue me. I'm waiting for it. Go on. And I was like, I can't have a coffee. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Let's talk about my coffee journey. I started drinking coffee, I don't even remember when. Probably when I started my A-levels. It was quite intense. I think I was drinking coffee then. I don't remember. Definitely when I started working when I went to medical school, for sure. It was like quite a big culture. It's like, we don't smoke, but that's our like form of smoking, is drinking coffee. We don't go out for a cigarette, we go for a coffee instead. It's like our social thing, So, the consultants would often buy us like coffee, and that's not the reason I got into it. I don't remember how. I honestly don't. But I feel like I thought that coffee tasted gross, but then when you try it with like a sugar syrup or like a nice coffee, like a latte or something, it's quite nice. It's kind of just milky. If you try like a really strong, like an Americano or an espresso, something that's like really strong coffee flavor, you're probably not going to love it, right? So I shouldn't really be encouraging people to start drinking coffee, but there are benefits to it. So it's, it's not all sadness. Interestingly, so I'm going to talk about the physical health benefits before, and then the mental health benefits. By the way, can I just sidetrack a little bit? Because in my head right now, I was just looking on Facebook Marketplace. I'm redesigning this room, my podcast room and business room. Let's call it the business room. This is the place where business gets done, right? There's, I got my plants in here. I've got my podcasting station. I'm intending on moving my podcasting station that way. You may see it in a few episodes. There's at the moment a horrible veneered bookcase. Hate it. I don't like furniture that's not pure wood, or mainly pure wood. I don't like veneer. It's cheap. It's disgusting. So all the stuff I buy now is all hardwood, either upcycled, recycled. It's secondhand. I don't buy new shit, okay? So this piece of shit bookcase was secondhand, but it was kind of given to me when I moved into my last house, and I just hadn't replaced it. But now it was just looking really messy. And do you know what I want? I want it's probably not going to be good for me because I sit on the sofa in a horrible position downstairs, and it's probably terrible for my back. But instead of sitting here, I don't know if this is a good idea, right? But I'm going to move and have a love seat there. I'm also thinking it would be good for interviews, right? Because I want to get some more people on the podcast, right? Right. Yeah, right. So I'm going to have a seat there. And I'm kind of feeling it at the moment. I'm going to get a rug as well. But I can't remember why I started talking about this. I really wish I did remember. Fuck, I can't. I just stopped for like a full 30 seconds and I honestly can't figure out where I was going. Maybe we'll pick it up in a minute. So I was talking about, I do this all the time. That's why I think I have ADHD. I was talking about, this is the business room. And I was talking about, I do business in here. It's fucking gone. I'm so sorry. Anyway, the physical health benefits of coffee. Oh, I was talking about my 3:30 in the afternoon. How did I get on to furniture? I don't understand. 3:30 in the afternoon. Oh, I can't tell if I'm a good podcaster, right? I do this and it makes me think, no, Dawn, you're not cut out for it. I probably need a co-host that's got like a bit more, like they're a bit more grounded and they can make me remember what I was talking about. Okay, so it's 3:30 in the afternoon and I said, no, I'm not going to have a coffee. So I didn't have one. Oh boy, that was like, I don't want to say the worst day of my life. That's fucking dramatic, isn't it? It was horrible. It was so bad. It was like, I was so grumpy. I was like, fuck off everyone in this world. I don't want you near me. And I just wanted to not talk to anyone. I was so irritable. I went and basically spent the day by myself. Not a bad thing, okay? Spending the day by yourself is not always bad. But I was grumpy, I was tired, and I didn't want to exist. But you can't start drinking coffee at 3:30 in the afternoon, right? So my rule is I have one coffee a day, unless we're in extreme circumstances. I'm talking like you've had no fucking sleep, you need to stay awake, you've got a shift or something's happening and you fucking need to concentrate, okay? So that's an emergency situation where a double, quadruple shot at Starbucks may be required. And, or I'm like driving or something and I need to stay awake. But as a general rule, I don't have coffee after 2 p.m. Like, that's not a hard and fast rule, right? That's just 2 p.m. It's a good answer. Generally, I mean, because I don't get up until late, as you can probably tell, 3:30. I can't say don't have coffee after 12, because my whole day shifted back. Sometimes when I'm at work, I do have half a coffee. I have sometimes at if I'm doing a 2 p.m. till midnight, I will have one at 6 or 7. And that's risky. It's risky business. But I still do it and I don't give a fuck because that's how YOLO I am. Okay, so that was a bad day. And this rolls in nicely to my next bit, which is the positives, the physical positives of having coffee. Because when you don't have it, and Tom, my boyfriend, always says to me, this is why you shouldn't drink coffee because then you just need it more, right? And I always worry when I go to places. For example, I climbed Kilimanjaro a year ago, right? I was like, what happens if there's no coffee there, Although, to be fair, Tanzania is a big exporter of coffee. But it's not what happens if there's no coffee on the mountain? Because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. That was a concern of mine. I was like, how am I going to make it through the day? Am I going to withdraw? It's going to be bad. I'm going to have withdrawal symptoms. But then I realised you can get coffee anywhere, because it's the fucking universal drug of the world. It doesn't even matter if you're in sub-Saharan Africa, if you're in Antarctica, if you're on the moon. I bet you there's fucking coffee there. I'm telling you, there's coffee everywhere. It's or even a tea bag, right? But coffee, oh boy, yeah, I'm telling you, it's everywhere. Because even if the Tanzanians didn't have it, firstly, they're so lovely and they are kind of working for you. So they run back down the mountain or they'd go and harvest some from a tree or something. They're so lovely that they probably would do that. But someone else would have some And the thing is, it's a kind of accessible drug. So it's like if you're at a festival or something and you run out of cocaine, it's not like, well, maybe at a festival it's easier, but people are a bit more precious about cocaine because one, it's more expensive, and two, it runs out quicker, right? But coffee, people are less bothered, right? My method of coffee intake is, I've come up with a new method, because before I would always drink hot coffees. I'm a cold coffee kind of gal. So I did run out of ice cubes, but we pulled through. So this is my usual coffee order to myself. I order it to myself. So I get a tablespoon. Yes, it's that big. I like my coffee quite strong. Like I want it to taste like fucking coffee, right? Tablespoon, kind of heaped, but not like whoop. It's like a little mound, right? Put it in a glass and fill it that much with cold water, halfway. Now, what I did before was I was mixing it in boiling water, and then I realised you don't actually need to. It works the same. I use that like ground instant stuff. It's not, I can't be dealing with like the fucking mess of coffee grounds. So I kind of like this ground instant stuff. It's not as bad as instant, but it's not as good as ground coffee. But alas, we're making sacrifices. One day when I'm rich and having a great time, I'm going to get one of those really nice machines. But then you have to clean it. This, fucking easy, right? Then I get an ice cube, put it in. And then I fill it with oat milk. Perfect. It's amazing. That's my coffee regime. So obviously, because caffeine is a stimulant, the first thing is alertness and concentration. I think that's what most people use it for, especially at work. Most of us are tired, which is kind of sad really, isn't it? Like, we have to drug ourselves to get through the day. I do think that's kind of sad, but that's the fucking case, because no one can be like, I'm tired, can I go home? Especially in the medical industry, people will be like, no, we're all fucking tired, shut up and carry on, have a coffee. It's like, yeah, go and get some drugs and carry on. And I do find that kind of sad, but whatever, such is life. A lot of people have like kids as well, and then they're up all night with the fucking kids. So, no one would be in work if being tired was a reason to be off work. Physical performance. Caffeine actually is a performance enhancing drug, but like not an illegal one. Like I said earlier, it basically increases adrenaline and potentially calcium in your muscles. So it increases contractility, strength and force. So it's kind of cool, right? Like a little tasty cocaine in a milky drink. 3, it is shown to boost metabolism. It makes your heart rate go a bit faster. It makes you sweat. All of those things burn calories. So it may help with weight management, but I don't think that's like it's not like, I want to lose weight, I'm going to start drinking loads of coffee. Like, it is an appetite suppressant, but I always find that what happens is I'm fine, and then bang, and then I fucking crash into the floor, and I feel like the hungriest person in the world, and like I'm about to die of hypoglycemia if I don't get food within the next 5 seconds. So that is a problem. So, and then I feel like I do probably tend to like eat stuff that I shouldn't be eating. But anyway, not recently. There's also it's been shown to reduce your risk of 3 disorders. Number 1, Parkinson's disease. Nobody knows how. Number 2, type 2 diabetes. Nobody knows how. And it doesn't mean that if you just drink loads of caffeine, consume loads of caffeine, that you're not going to get those things. But by the way, we're talking mainly in moderation here, I'm not saying, when I say moderation, we'll get onto moderation in a minute, okay? Because I have been in non-moderation land, and I'm sure you have too. Number 3, types of cancer. I can't tell you which ones, some cancers. Let's move on to the mental health benefits. Number 1, it increases release of serotonin and dopamine. to happy chemicals in your brain. I've noticed after I have a coffee, I feel happier. I genuinely do. I don't know if it's because I have more energy or probably also the neurotransmitters, to be honest. Enhanced cognitive function, faux show, right? You want to be smashing your exams. Caffeine in good quantity, like an adequate but not overdosing quantity, will set your brain in the right mode, and you're like, I am focused forever. Number 3, is kind of the same as what we just talked about. Can reduce your risk of sort of neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, but also Alzheimer's. I wonder if that's because it increases dopamine and increases circulation to the brain. That's just a random theory. I don't know. I have no medical backing to that whatsoever. So let's talk about the negatives. Okay, let's firstly talk about overdosing caffeine, because that is a thing, right? Any drug, you can overdose on it. Now, it's not going to kill you. Well, okay, it might if you have like 5,000 cups of coffee in a day. I don't know how much it takes to like kill you with caffeine. Probably more than you could handle drinking wise. But let's talk about my overdosing stories. There have been a few situations. Number 1 is when I'm at work. If I have too much coffee, now I've got the recipe down now, right? Tablespoon, but not heaped, but like mounded. Like I said, it's very specific. That's like a good amount for me. Put it in, perfect. If I heap that tablespoon, things are going to start going wrong. If I underheap it, things are also not going to go well. But mainly having too much, right? So if I heap it, oh baby, that's a bad time. So, or if I have brewed coffee, which the consistency isn't always the same. It could be really strong. It could taste really strong, but not have that much caffeine in it, vice versa. And what I notice is that, firstly, I get quite anxious. I would say I do have anxiety, but I'm not like a generally anxious person. Obviously I am in like certain situations, especially when there's like drugs like alcohol and caffeine involved, right? So caffeine can make me quite anxious if I have too much of it. I get like sweaty palms, like my heart rate goes fast, I breathe quicker, and I'm all like jittery. It's the same with alcohol. Like when I'm hungover, the effects of having alcohol come out of your system for me are like similar, but like I get like an internal anxiety. I don't know how to explain it. So those are anxiety is a particularly common one. The other thing, some people might get like headaches with it. I personally would get a headache if I didn't have it. But the other thing is like it really stimulates your bowels and bladder. So as someone who struggles with a motivated bowel, which others might call IBS, but I don't identify as having IBS, but I have a very motivated bowel when it comes with caffeine. If I have too much caffeine, that baby's coming out quickly. It's the same with my wee. It irritates your bladder. It also acts as a diuretic, which is water releasing from your body. And I end up peeing loads and peeing like more but like less amount, if you get what I mean. So those are the main issues. Also, if I have caffeine too late, like many people, I can't sleep. Some people have cups of tea before bed and I'm like, what kind of sorcery is this? How are you doing this? I don't understand. You have a cup of tea and then go to bed. You have a Diet Coke and then go to bed. What? I maybe am quite sensitive to caffeine, like not hugely, like some people are really sensitive, but I had a kombucha once. It's got fucking 8 milligrams of caffeine in it and I just couldn't sleep. So I'm not a very good sleeper though. It's been the case since I was 3 years old, apparently. Well, no, I didn't sleep through the night until I was 3. So the other way around. It's been the case till I was 3, but also from when I was 3. So sleeping is an issue for me anyway, hence why I say none after 2 p.m. It can also increase your heart rate, and your blood pressure. Now, if you have high blood pressure issues, I personally don't, I believe, then that might be an issue for you. But for most people, I would say it probably isn't. Digestive issues, oh yeah, I mentioned that one, didn't I? Shit yourself. Dependency and withdrawal. So if you can't get hold of it, it's like a bit of a nightmare. You're like, how am I going to cope with the day? I can't cope, please. So it does become a bit of an issue, especially when you're like going away and you're like, fuck, how am I going to cope without my drugs? You can take things like Pro Plus though, or like I said, caffeine is everywhere. Like everyone fucking loves it in the world. So there we go. There's some more that I've already mentioned. Anxiety, nervousness, agitation, restlessness, stress levels. So it stimulates the release of stress hormones like cortisol, which can make you more stressed. Like I said, I need like a sweet spot of like good amount, not so much that I'm like stressed. Too blessed to be stressed, 6 in the morning. If you don't know that song, I'm so sorry. Jitteriness, worsening of like mental health problems such as anxiety, dependency, yeah, we got that. Negative interactions with other medications. I don't actually know what they are. I've never heard anybody say I can't take caffeine, I can't have caffeine because I'm on this medication. I think people would just do it anyway. So, do's and don'ts of drinking caffeine, consuming caffeine. I would say find your limit. Some people it's very high. I think just naturally it's high. But for me it's like medium. I can have a double shot espresso and probably be okay. Can I have more than that? In fact, a double shot is kind of pushing it. You know, like at Starbucks or Costa when they're like, you just get like a large and then it's got like 5 million shots in it. That's, you know, it's pushing it there. Sometimes I'm like, can I have like 1.5, which is really fucking awkward. But I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to shit myself or cry today. It's already happened once. Don't want it to happen again. No, that was a joke. So I think it's really hard to, you can determine your like caffeine milligrams. I think that's really difficult unless you're using the same source of caffeine every time, i.e. a tea bag. However, if you brew a tea bag for longer, it's got more caffeine, like more caffeine comes out of it. But for example, the stuff that I use is generally like the same amount is going to be the same amount of caffeine, or like a can of Coke or something like that. Not that I'm advocating drinking Coke. Ew. So that is one thing that I won't drink before bed as well. Like Pepsi Max. I mean, I don't drink the sugar one anyway, but arguably, are the artificial sweeteners any better for me? That's a good question. And yeah, so I find it really hard to say like, yeah, just drink like, I think there is a recommended daily amount of caffeine to drink. Like, I want to say it's like 200 milligrams, but I don't actually know. That could be completely wrong. Because I don't look at that personally. Some people might like that. They might want to look at that. But I think, you know, you then start getting into a difficult situation when you're like, well, I don't know how much caffeine this has got in it and I don't want to have too much. If you just know, like, okay, generally I can have this much. Like 1 teaspoon of coffee for me is fucking nothing. Like, there's no point. It doesn't even tickle the sides. So I know that I need like 2 or 3 teaspoons of instant coffee. If it's like a brewed cup, I can have like a whole cup of that, or, you know, if it's, yeah, generally I can have a whole cup of that. Or like 3/4 of a cup. And if it's like later in the day, I just have a smaller cup, like I just have less. So I know how to dose myself, all right? We're going to talk about some alternative caffeine consumption methods in a minute. And I think cutting down caffeine is something that I don't think it's like that hard, but I think some people are obviously like, it is addictive. So I would say to try and avoid all the withdrawal symptoms that I discussed earlier, I think it takes like 3 days to get over caffeine addiction. 3, 5 maybe. Like, I don't think it's a really long time. So, but I mean, that's kind of the same for most drugs. So, but it does, do you get physical dependency? I mean, your body doesn't struggle well, it does, but like, is it just your mind? I think it is your body too. You might also need to alter your timings of caffeine. Some people can drink it, like I said, all throughout the day. For me, I need to have a cut off. I can't be having it at night time. No. And it's kind of funny because you don't think that hot chocolate or chocolate's got caffeine in it, but it does. Ew, gross. So not eating loads of chocolate before bed or having a hot chocolate right before bed. I mean, it doesn't have a lot, not as much as like coffee or like a Red Bull, but it's still got some in it. I'm going to discuss that in a second. Obviously, we can talk quickly about like caffeine in certain populations. Now, there are going to be certain people who can't drink coffee. People maybe with kidney disease, people who are pregnant, for example, people who have really uncontrolled high blood pressure or really intolerant to caffeine or really sensitive to it. I think you guys know who you are and maybe wouldn't be listening to this. And if somebody said to you, don't drink coffee, like a healthcare professional, then just don't drink it, you know? Okay, alternative ways to consume caffeine. Let's have a look at this little graph. All right, I got this off the internet. Obviously, I didn't make it myself. Now, interestingly, decaf coffee. Oh, I am quite a fan of decaf coffee because I do like the taste of it. Like, it's not like I drink coffee just for the caffeine. Otherwise, I would just have like a pro plus, right? I actually like the act of drinking coffee. So we're talking about milligrams of caffeine here. Decaf coffee still has caffeine in it, but 3 milligrams, not a lot, okay? When we're talking about like 1 cup of brewed coffee is like 100 milligrams, maybe 100 to 150. 3 is like not that much at all, okay? Hot chocolate, 19. These are obviously rough estimates, okay? I'm not like, don't quote me on these, but you know, it's 20 milligrams, not too bad. Green tea, I would say I quite like green tea in the fact that firstly, you're replacing your caffeine with green tea is like healthy for you somehow. Anything that's green surely got to be healthy, right? Green tea, but I also think it doesn't produce that like excessive amount of caffeine and like the spike of it and then that like deadly drop where you feel like you're going to die. But also, you don't drink loads of milk with it. So when I have coffee, I have like a latte kind of thing. So it obviously doesn't decrease quite significantly how many like calories you have with that drink, and you'd be able to have more of them. So then a shot of espresso, according to this, is approximately 30 milligrams. This is Coca-Cola. I haven't fact-checked this. 40 milligrams. Black tea, 45. Red Bull, 80. And then we're getting up to like instant coffee is like 82. And then brewed coffee, like 100-ish. And then obviously you can get onto like pre-workouts and stuff. That I don't know. But I think, how much is your daily intake? Come on, let's have a look. Daily intake of caffeine for a 13-year-old. The FDA has said 400 milligrams, 4 or 5 cups of coffee, as an amount not generally associated with dangerous negative effects. Wow. I would not be able to have that much. I'd be dead, like on the floor. How much caffeine is dangerous? Toxic effects like seizures, oh god, can be observed with rapid consumption of around 1,200 milligrams of caffeine. So that's quite a lot. That's like 12 cups of coffee. Or how much does a Pro Plus have in it? Pro Plus caffeine amount. Yes, please. 50 milligrams. So you'd have to have 24 of them. Is that right? 24. I just did that really quickly in my head and that could be completely wrong. 1,200 divided by 50. Ooh, she got it right. 24. Fucking quick maths there. I did get A star in A-level maths, so there we go. I could also have got it wrong by a factor of 10 or 100, so that was pretty good. So what happens when you overdose on caffeine? I love these like Google like really quick answers. Ooh, breathing trouble, changes in alertness. That's a bit vague, isn't it? Like, changes in alertness. Are you drowsy? Are you more alert? Who knows? Restlessness, anxiety, jitteriness. Okay, yeah, we got that. Difficulty breathing, chest pain, muscle tremors, confusion, hallucinations and seizures, cardiac arrhythmias, tachycardia, so fast heart rate, treatment for caffeine overdose, blah, 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 beta blockers to try and reduce the heart rate. Most acute in the first few hours, but may persist for as long as 7 days. Okay, well, there we go. That was a fun little segment, wasn't it? Okay. Oh, I remember what I was going to tell you. Oh my God, I've just remembered the story from earlier. I totally remembered what I was going to say. This is so great. Okay, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace. I was talking about my little boss boy setup here. And I'm getting rid of that horrible the bookcase. I was looking on Facebook Marketplace. I want to get like a 2-seater sofa there, like a little love seat or something, right? There will be enough room there, I think, hopefully. It'll also just look really cute, and like I'm gonna put this up behind it as well. But like this is only half of how much there is of it. I've got the other half up there, so I'm gonna put the other half on the other wall. I got a bit bored, maybe ADHD, putting this up, and I just did half. That was enough. I was like, that's enough for me. Okay, so what happened was I was looking on Facebook Marketplace for love seats. That's what they're called, love seats. Sorry, I was just checking the battery. And do you know what came up, right? When you're on Facebook Marketplace, there's these things called advertisements. No fucking shit on. So there's an advert on there from Etsy, and somehow I accidentally clicked on it. Maybe it wasn't an accident. I don't know. Oh, I'm so distressed by it. All I can think about is this texture in my mouth. I'm like a real texture person, and I just can't. Ugh. So basically, people are selling on Etsy. I shit you not, right? This is my weird thought for the day. I shit you not, people are selling frozen snails. Why? I didn't realise there was a marketplace on Etsy for fucking... There was an audience for frozen snails. And I tell you, the pictures are horrendous. So bad. Wait, there's one with chickens. Okay, that's just a picture of a chicken, but they're not actually selling chickens, which is kind of... Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to show you what the pictures look like. Oh, boy. I'm so sorry. It looks like half a brain or like a tongue. I just can't cope. So anyway, that is the most disgusting thing I've seen forever. And I hope that's not now they're not gonna show me that. Oh fuck, now suggested searches, jumbo snail, snail food, egg bin, what even is egg bin? So great. Now I'm gonna get recommended fucking snails. No, I don't like snails. I can't imagine anything more worse. What? I can't imagine anything worse to eat in the world than a fucking snail. It honestly makes my fucking whole body crawl. Like, I can deal with anything medical. In fact, I would rather eat someone's maggots off their rotting leg than eat a snail. I'm telling you, I would. I'd like to check their bloodborne virus profile first, though. I don't want like HIV or... Not that I'm frowning upon that, but if I can avoid it, I'd rather have a maggot that doesn't have that. So anyway, that is where that story was going. Fucking hell, my brain is a mess. Okay, so how else? I'm so distressed by these snails. Like, I really can't cope. Remember, I used to have a weird thoughts section on my podcast. That is my weird thought, is how people could eat that. Oh, I'm honestly so freaked out by that right now. Come on, Dawn, let's carry on talking about caffeine. Yeah. Okay, so... Oh, fuck, that's so gross. Kombucha. I think it's only like 10 milligrams of caffeine in a kombucha, right? Kombucha is it's an eclectic taste. A bit like coffee, but eclectic, okay? When I say eclectic, let me check that's the right word. Eclectic. eclectic meaning. Okay, I'm not sure it's right. What does it mean if someone's eclectic? Including things taken from many different sources. Okay, maybe I mean like it's a specialized palate. Let's put it that way. It's an odd taste, but I like it because I feel like I can put up with things that are gross, not snail gross. I can put up with things that are a little bit gross if I know that they're fine for me, like good for me, right? And this is good for you. It's got like prebiotics and shit. I don't know that coffee is good for your like gut. So, but kombucha is good as far as we know. It's made from, like, you ferment black tea. I have actually made it before. It wasn't very nice when I made it, and I've never made it again. I made it once, and it tasted like vinegar, and I don't know what I did wrong. But I was like, I can't be bothered to learn. I've got this really bad habit of, like, doing lots of things for very small amounts of time. Like, I've done everything once. So, apart from my podcast, okay, I need to say, this is the 80. I wanted to say it on the 80th episode, then I forgot. Then I wanted to say it on the 81st episode. I forgot, right? And so on until we're here now today. This is the 85th episode. I wanted to say we've reached a milestone of 80. Bear in mind that most podcasts don't make it past episode 7. I'm doing pretty well. And trust me, mine nearly didn't make it past episode 7. And then I was like, come on, girl, you got it. So episode 85, I did change the podcast name halfway through. Well, not halfway, I think. Anyway, the episodes are still on there though, if you want to go listen to them. It was more of like a medical podcast, and then I like changed it because I don't like. What I realised was that doctors don't like talking in front of a camera except me, because they're always like worried they're going to get incriminated for it. So I had some fun plans of having like doctor guests, like, because I have easy access to doctors, being a doctor myself. Then nobody wanted to come on. Everyone was too scared. So I was like, fuck you. And I ditched it. So coffee, kombucha, tea. Remember to stay hydrated with water. What's next? Herbal infusions. No, that's not got caffeine in it. Caffeine pills or supplements. If you don't like caffeinated beverages, you can still get the health benefits from having 1 Pro Plus a day. Matcha, that green shit. But it's also now pink and blue as well, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how that happened. I think it's from a specific like blue matcha plant. I don't think they dye it, basically. So I kind of like matcha, again, because it's green. I feel like it's good for me. So I'm like, yummy. And so I think it also releases caffeine more slowly. How much does it have in it? It doesn't say. Matcha contains caffeine, but the levels are generally lower than coffee. So, and also it's got loads of antioxidants in it. It's got an amino acid called L-theanine, which has, weirdly, calming and relaxing effects, which is like an alert relaxation. Okay, fuck, I need to get more of this. Ooh, mental clarity without the jitters. Okay, where have I been for the past 5 years when matcha made its way onto the scene? Slow release of caffeine. Perfect. Isn't that what we want? Digestive benefits due to its chlorophyll content, which can have a soothing effect on the gastrointestinal tract. So, but okay, we need to talk about the negatives of matcha, because it does taste a little bit like dirt, but like green dirt. And I don't know how to explain that. But I mean, you can add syrups and shit, but then it's just sugar. I don't mind the taste of it. I quite like it. Like I said, I can put up with things that taste a little bit like funky if I know that they're good for me. I am more of a texture person, so I can't deal with abnormal textures or like weird textures or things that are like slimy or something like that, you know, or gristly or chewy. So I can deal with things that are liquid, that aren't lumpy. So yeah, matcha. Now I'm going to, this is like It's not a listener Q&A because nobody actually asked me these questions, but I'm going to answer the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, it's 9. 9 top Googled questions of is caffeine. Number 1, is caffeine bad? Sometimes I do that. Is caffeine bad for you? As discussed earlier, we're going to do this quick fire. As discussed earlier, in moderation, it can have positive health benefits. Yay. Number 2, is caffeine a drug? Yes. Number 3, is caffeine good for you? As discussed earlier, in moderation, it can have positive health benefits. Yes. Is caffeine a diuretic? It is. Diuretic means it makes you wee more. So basically, it dilates the blood vessels leading to the kidneys, which means you wee more. However, it's not shown to dehydrate you necessarily, as long as you are counteracting it. You know, if you're having like a coffee with water in it, then that should be enough to counteract how much you wee. But if you're having like pure caffeine on its own or more concentrated caffeine, then you may need to top up with water. I've forgotten. Is caffeine addictive? Yes. Number something. Is caffeine a stimulant? Yes. Who are asking these questions? Is caffeine a laxative? It stimulates your bowel, so it acts as a laxative, I suppose. It's more of a bowel stimulator, which is, I guess, a form of laxative. Yes. Is caffeine bad for your heart? If you have greater than 1,200 milligrams in at one heavy dose, then yes. But generally, actually, no. If you have it in a good amount. Is caffeine an appetite suppressant? I think it is, but then for me, my blood sugar fucking plummets, and then I'm like, and then I want to eat loads. So, yes, it is. I think that's all we got for caffeine for today. I made it through, despite not being able to talk for the first 5 minutes, and then forgetting where I was going. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's like a little, health pod on caffeine, I suppose. What have I got coming up next? Because you might want to know, or you might literally not give a shit. Oh my God, I just opened my camera and maybe I should... Fuck. I know I'm videoing myself here, but I could actually video myself like here as well, which is cool. Oh, look, you can see Can you see that? You can see the bookcase if you zoom in. And you can also see the rest of the room, which you've never seen before. So, what was coming up next? I do really want to do a multivitamin episode. Are all of these supplements actually worth it? Because I keep seeing fucking adverts. I saw one today that was like personalized gummy stacks, and honestly, it looked amazing. But I was like, do we need it, really? Okay, I have a podcast note in my phone. There's only 3 things on at the moment, but that gummy thing is on there. I want to do an episode on how to like be alone and be happy, or do things alone and be happy, because I did have a recent thing where I went to a festival on my own. It's on my YouTube channel at Dawn Barlow, but I really struggled with it, so I want to talk about that. But not the festival itself, but like, because I have got an episode on that as well on my podcast. But just generally how to do things alone, because I think I've definitely improved on that over the years. And the other one I want to do is basically like the art of thinking nothing. So those are the ones coming up. That's going to be like, recently I've been fucking absolutely zen in my head, and it's been great. It's a rarity. But I was like, how did I get here? What happened? So I'm going to share my secrets with you. Anyway, I upload every Monday and Thursday. Whoop. It goes on my YouTube channel at Dawn Barlow. And it also goes on my podcast stream, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer. Any fucking podcast thing you can ever think of in your mind, it's there. There we go. If you liked it, please give it a like. I would love it so much. Please comment. I do reply to all the comments, and I love them so much. And if you are listening on a listening app, please give it a rating. That would super help me and the podcast get to more people. If you have any suggestions or any comments you want to make and you're not on YouTube, go hit up my email box called, and I'm checking it like really regularly now, like it's dangerous. It's contact@ diariesofadoctor.com. Send me an email. Put in there that like you're a real fucking human, or like something that makes me think you're a human, so that I know to reply. Because if I think you're a robot, you ain't getting no reply. So robots don't tend to say I'm not a robot, so you could say that. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. I had a real great time today. I don't know why I'm full of energy. It's like I'm feeling it. All right, love you. Bye.